All right, great. I like this attendance. We got 114 people on, 115 actually so far. So a couple things. So I've been trying to figure out this is my first GoToWebinar. I've used GoToMeeting for a long time, but this time we had over 200 people sign up for the webinar. So I have had to sign up for GoToWebinar. So the only thing is I'm not very good yet at GoToWebinar, so I was trying to figure out how to unmute you guys so that you guys can ask questions. So towards the end of the presentation of what I'll be sharing with you, you will be able to ask questions, but we may have to do it via chat. So if you ask me a question via chat, I will answer via voice, so it's easier for all of you to hear it, and I'll also repeat the question as well. So a little background on myself. I am Andrew Bermudez. I am a former senior vice president and broker at Lee and Associates in Orange County, California. I did a lot of tenant rep, and I also did agency work, so listing work. And what I want to do is I basically, we've had a website called getdigsy.com for quite some time. And that's not Digsy AI, where we've learned and met a lot of incredible brokers who are just rock stars. And what we've seen in working with hundreds of these agents is a lot of the things that they do, their patterns on how they get their appointments, how they close more deals, and things like that. So what I'd like to share with you today is secrets to book more appointments with CRE prospects. And I'm just going to do a little maintenance here just to make sure that everybody can hear me. And yeah, so we'll jump right in. Let me see here. Yep. Okay, so yeah, Natalie, I love your comment. Yay, Lee. Yeah, I was at Lee for 12 years. So I'll jump in here. I just want to make sure that I wasn't screwing things up. So, all right, with that being known, I tend to be a little bit techier. I started in commercial real estate in 1999. I left not too long ago to go start Digsy, and I wanted to share some important stats with you. One thing that's very important in sales is to know your numbers. It's a numbers game. But I wanted to share with you kind of how we got all of you to this webinar, right? So what we do is we track metrics at Digsy a lot so that we know what works and we can do more of it. So for example, we emailed about 12,000 people to announce this webinar that you're attending. And as of last night, there were 194 registered. And out of those 194 registered, guess what? Their direct cold email that I sent all of you to let you know that we were holding this webinar had the most signups. Out of that 194, 116 registered. And then the follow-up email that I sent, this is the second one, not the third one that was sent this morning, 57, so approximately another big chunk of the attendees came from that follow-up email. We did put in LinkedIn, and we created ads on LinkedIn, the news funnel, Twitter, Facebook. We also shared this with influencers that we know. Those are people in commercial real estate who have a large following, such as Alan Buchanan, guys like Duke Long, etc. And that got us some signups. It's too early to tell. We haven't been too active on those networks, but it looks like between email, follow-up email, LinkedIn, and news funnel, which is an industry publication, those are the best way to, you guys are our prospects because we provide tools that make your life easier. But this is great news for us because this is how we were able to get your attention and be able to share some things that we hope can help you in your business. So with that being said, what do the numbers tell us? Email is absolutely king. Follow is absolutely king. And that's follow not only in email, but you got to pick up the phone. You got to talk to people is probably the best way to reach somebody. So what we will focus on is emails and follow-up in this webinar. And also, if you look on the screen, there are two Word documents that are kind of like email scripts that I'm going to be sharing with you throughout this process. But you can download them, you can tweak them, and see how they work for you. But I should give you a head start on some of the things we're going to share today. But let's jump in that. So email you can do cold calls and you can do cold emails and you can twist the email scripts to work on the cold calls. But we're just going to go over the things that we've learned from top people who actually book a lot of appointments and close a lot of deals. So one thing is, if you're sending an email, don't send it from your brand. Don't send an email to prospects from Lee and Associates or CBRE or American Express or anything. They have to come from a human. So if you're, Jane Doe, send the email from your email address. And if you want to do it at scale, do it, but find a tool that can do it for you where it looks like you actually took the time to write me and it's got some personal stuff like that. Don't make it look like this, right? This is a conference company trying to, get me to save some money. That's not really personal. Make it look more like this, right? Somewhere, make it look personal. This is what we've learned. Subject lines are very important. So I usually put the first name of the person, like, hi, Mark, in there. And on this one, I said, hey, Mark, I had it on my calendar to follow up with you today about your commercial real estate needs. When would be a good time for us to connect on the phone or in person? Would love to help drive value to you and your business. So make them look personal. Make them look like you sent from Outlook or Gmail, or actually send them from there. If you're not doing a mass scale, if you're highly targeting just specific prospects, you can actually you can get those done pretty quickly with some tools out in the market that I'll be sharing. But yeah, you can also automate this. There are tools for you to be personal and efficient at the same time. So the main important thing is not necessarily the process of getting the email out, but it's actually getting people to reply to you. And what we've learned from experts is that it's all about driving value, right? So what do you as a commercial real estate broker care about? You care about developing more prospects, figuring out new tactics that work. Essentially, it all boils down to increasing your ROI, your return on investment. And what that means is I want to invest as little time as possible and get the highest output out of things like that. I want to make money. But I want to have time to spend with my family, my friends, etc. So taking that perspective and then looking at it from a business owner point of view, and I'll tell you this because now I'm a business owner. I run a software technology company. So we sell, sales tools in addition to having another business as well that helps brokers connect with tenants and buyers. So what do they care about? Business owners care about just basic things at the very, very top level that are always on their mind. It's attracting and retaining good talent because that's what grows the company. So if you can turn me on to a great salesperson, if you can turn me on to like a great operations person or just a great person who can work the front desk or somewhere in my company that is coming vouched by somebody else, that's huge. The second thing on my mind is lowering costs. I hate paying rent. I mean, it's the second biggest expense that we have, right? In addition to people. People are expensive and space is expensive. So I want to lower those costs and I want to increase profitability, not only for myself and the company, but for the investors that we may have in the company. Like we're venture backed and angel backed, so we do have investors, right? So we want to make sure that we do a great job at managing costs and increasing profitability. I also want to know what's the next big thing? What are things out there that people are doing in my industry that aren't being done across the board that I can tap into? Whether it's a new marketing strategy, whether it's a new tool, etc. What is the next big thing that will elevate my business? That's the value there. So there's a lot more, but these are usually the ones that are on top of their mind. So as a commercial real estate agent, you guys have a lot of clients. You guys have a lot of business owners, developers, salespeople, etc. And the main thing that you can out of the gate help businesses with is lowering costs, increasing profitability. You're also able to do a lot more than that, but the real estate expense being the biggest thing should be able to help you kind of frame your mind into helping people out rather than trying to get them to, sell your services. So it's very important to communicate this in every interaction with a prospect, that you are there to help and you bring something of value that they're probably not thinking about that touches one of those value propositions that's always on their mind, which is saving money, attracting talent, etc. You can even open up with a business owner saying, hey, I saw a job post that you're looking for an operations guy. I have a friend of mine or a past client of mine who sold his company or, decide or is actually looking for a new opportunity who's great at that position. I just thought I'd put you in touch with them. Would you like me to make an intro? If you make an intro, great. Then just go, hey, would love to get to know you better and sit down. Really what you're trying to do is you're trying to get in the door. So if this email on my screen is too small, I'm going to recite it for you. So for example, there's an email to a prospect, Mark. On the subject line, I basically name his company. So in this hypothetical thing is Broadcom. And I said Broadcom's rent at 17,500 Jamboree. As a business owner, that's going to make me open up that email because I want to know, is my rent going up? But what I can say is I say, hey, Mark, I wanted to let you know that tenants in your building and neighboring buildings can be paying too much in rent and operating expenses. I've been doing some free lease and operating expense audits to help them save money on this huge capital expense. Love to do a complimentary lease OPEX audit as I've wanted to start building a valuable relationship with you and your company, right? And then at the bottom, we say, hey, can we schedule a 15-minute call or meeting? Let me know of a good time or pick a time for my calendar here. So you can make this a lot shorter, a lot friendlier, but email should be no more than 3 paragraphs long and try to keep them small. For me, for my taste, this is an email that's probably a little bit longer than I would like. And I think we can trim it down. So like I think it was Mark Twain said, hey, if I had more time, I would have written a shorter book. But when we break down the anatomy of this email, there are a couple things. We want to get into the value prop right away. So I might even just eliminate the first sentence or the first paragraph on this, and just instead of saying I want to let you know that tenants blah, I would say, hey, I've been doing free lease and operating expense audits to help companies like you save money in rent and your capital expense. But what you take away from this is, hey, you're willing to help me save money, so reducing my costs. And then you say, okay, what's in it for you? It's, oh, okay, I see that you are doing this and offering this because you want to develop a relationship with me and your business and my business. So the other thing too is about 60% of people read email on their mobile devices. So how many times have you guys tried to set up lunch with a prospect, with a client, and you just don't answer on the email on your phone because you don't want to look at your calendar and go back into the email app and go back to your calendar and pick a few dates and times and have it type it out. It's just a mess, right? So you usually wait till your desktop, but then you forget, and then you also have the problem on your desktop where you still got to look at your calendar, look at the email, and write those times. So screw that. Make it really, really easy for somebody to book an appointment. And there's tools out there which I'll be sharing with you that you can use that hook into your calendar so that people can see when you're open and they can book you on the spot on their mobile device, or they can do it on their desktop, and it's pretty killer stuff. So make it super, super easy for somebody to book your time, no back and forth. We all dread that. And remember, 60% of the emails are read on mobile devices. So they're probably, if you're asking for dates and times, you offer them up front, but you also run the risk that they may not, that any of the dates you're suggesting don't work for them. So have an alternative. So the tool that I was showing you right here is Calendly. Now they have a free version and they've got a paid version. We're not in any way, shape, or form affiliated with Calendly, but I'll tell you, I am a huge fan. And for those of you who are attending the webinar who know me, you guys know that when we talk about getting together, I send you that Calendly link. So it's really awesome. It basically, you enter either your Outlook credentials or your Exchange credentials, or if you're using Google Calendar or Google Mail or Gmail, you just set it up and you just tell it, hey, look at my calendar, pick up an open spot. You can also block off times that you don't necessarily have on your calendar, but you don't ever want to be booked. Like for example, I have my team stand-up meetings here at the office. Between 9 and 10, we have, kind of like our internal team meeting at 9, and then we have our company-wide meeting at 9:30. So those are blocked off automatically. But I know that I've got flexibility. You can do that with Calendly. So it shows when you're open, and the cool thing is I can just pick a date and time, and it'll book an event, and it'll send me an invite. So make it really, really easy. Up to this webinar, some people were asking for more information on what Digsy AI was, and the first 2 people that contacted us I send them, hey, wanted more information, here's my calendar. Guess what? Both of them, we booked for a demo and we got them too. So definitely make it easy for people to book your time. I highly suggest this not only for sales, but for any part of your life. It's gonna make your life so much easier. Prospects are gonna love you for that, and you're gonna be able to accelerate actually getting that meeting on the calendar. So we've been talking about email, right? That's how we got you guys in here. So it's very important to get email, but how do you get email addresses? So there's two things. One, there's tools out there, and I believe this one's free up to 25 contacts, and then after that it's not that expensive. But there's also, you guys collect a lot of business cards. It's just a matter of getting those business cards into the system. So I'm going to show you how we can do that. So for example, if you go to www.slick.ai, this is a little widget that gets enabled on your web browser. And then when you are looking, let's say you're targeting specific companies and things like that, and you know who you want to touch base with. Like for example here, I want to touch base with Kelly Hill, who's a sales director at in LA for CBRE. So I can, that little green button that's being shown there, if I click on that, it'll actually search and find the email address and give it to me. And then I can I can email them directly from there, or I can actually add that email to my CRM and things like that. So very powerful. I would check it out, slick.ai. We're not affiliated with them either, but it's a tool that me being not only CEO of the company, but being in sales, I do a lot of the big accounts, has been just awesome, And I know that a lot of the top agents that we've talked to who have shared these secrets with us use email quite a bit too. So the other thing too is if we go back to what we were talking about earlier, our second highest thing just for this webinar was the fact that we have about half of our things here coming from email. So give me 1 second. Let me see if I can turn this off. It looks like I'm getting a call. I don't even know how to turn that off. Let me see here. That's annoying. Oh, there we go. Sorry, guys. That was embarrassing. But anyway, we've got, for example, our second highest appointment rate was through email, and I've confirmed this with brokers, and they say, yeah, email works great. Prospecting, follow-up, a lot of things, and the people on the other end don't want to pick up the phone sometimes. But you do want to jump on the phone, especially if they don't respond after several times. But the main thing is you have those. You can use Slick AI to target specific people, but if you've got business cards, most of those business cards have the email address. So don't let those business cards collect. I know we're all guilty of that. I know they sit in the desk. I'm guilty of that too. But luckily, we don't want to sit there and do admin work for 3 hours. I mean, even if we have 10 cards, we're going to spend 40 minutes inputting those, and we can be doing better things at a time. We also, a lot of the times, we have an admin, but we don't want to bug them, or there's a special way we want to do it. Don't worry about it. There's actually really easy way to not let them collect dust, so you can get them straight into your CRM system. That way you don't forget to follow up, because you know that if you met somebody or you have an opportunity, you forget to follow up. Those are lost sales. How many times when you have downtime during the holidays and you're cleaning out your office and you're going through cards and you go, oh my God, these people needed space and I never called them. Don't let that be you. Get them in there, and there's tools that we're going to share to easily get them into our CRM system. So there's a tool that I use. I don't use it necessarily for my sales, but I use it for different things, like contacts that don't belong there, like for example, investors or potential partners and things like that. So Full Contact, so that's fullcontact.com, makes it really easy for you to snap a photo of the business card, and it turns it into a contact in the background, and they even automatically sync it with Google Contacts, with your Outlook contacts, and they can push it to the CRM, or you can export a list that you can import into your CRM. One thing that we've done at Digsy is we've made it really easy to turn those cards into digital contacts, like really fast. So what we do is a couple things. So the prospecting system we have, you can mass scan them, so don't even worry about doing them right. There's no OCR, just scan them, drop all the images in a Dropbox and send us the link, or drop them in the mail. They're usually turned around pretty quickly, but those get transcribed by humans, actually, a team of humans throughout the world within 24 hours. So if you have hundreds of cards, you can actually get them in there pretty quickly, and they can basically go into your Digsy AI prospecting table. I don't want this to be a pitch, so I'm going to kind of show you that's one thing you can do, but full contact works great. So take a look at that. And the other thing is when you're sending those prospecting emails, right, to people, you got to send a lot of them. But at the same time, there are people that you want to follow up. So you can do a couple things. You can make a reminder on your Outlook to follow up with somebody. Let's say I email Mark today. I have a thing on my Outlook, that an event, all-day event on Outlook that shows that in 3 days I'm going to follow up with Mark, and I'm going to either take action on that day, etc. It gets kind of funky and inconvenient once you, like, if you're emailing 20, 30 people, you don't want like 20, 30 events on your calendar. So what you can do is you can actually automate this. There is a tool, very inexpensive, called SaneBox. And what that does is it hooks up to your Outlook, it hooks up to your Gmail, and runs in the background. Basically, when you email somebody, you can blind carbon copy and just put 2 days, 1 week, whatever, at sanebox.com. And after I send this email, if that person doesn't respond, the email will come back into my inbox. And that way I know I don't have tons of calendar appointments, reminding me to follow up. I just see that email, and what I do is I either pick up the phone or shoot another email to the prospect to try to see if I can add value. I know that I can help them save money on space. The main thing we're trying to do, remember, is get in there to start developing a relationship and trust. So whatever way, shape, or form you can drive value, whether it's referring them clients or getting in front of them, you want to develop those relationships, especially with big accounts, very early on. So that way, when it comes up for discussion, when they actually need space, you're top of mind because you've been driving value. So it's a little quid pro quo too, because they owe you, but at the same time, they know you're a good person and you add more value than just finding commercial space and saving them money. So that email does come back to your inbox. One thing that we've done at Digsy AI too is made it really easy. We use this tool, make it really easy to follow up. So you can go into the system here, and when you look at the contact record after the business card's been scanned or it's been synced to your Outlook, you can just select the date and then it'll show up there. And what it does is it doesn't interrupt you when you log into your inbox or anything's attempted. Everything the Digsy AI segments for you intelligently. It'll basically have reminders for follow-ups. And then when you click the follow-up link, the neat thing is it'll actually generate an email for you. So it'll pre-fill the text, and then you can modify that. So you can make any changes you want and then send it. And the system actually hooks up to your email and calendar system in the back. So that way, if you look at that email, it's in your sent items. And the crazy thing too is I can send emails as long as you're sending them from your work email or whatever email that you're using it to run your business. You can send it through Apple Mail, you can send it through iPhone Mail, through Exchange, through Outlook, or Android Mail. The system will automatically log those activities for you. And the purpose of that, and you should be doing this for your clients too, whatever CRM you're using, do this because it's really nice to be able to pick up where you left off. So it'll send sent emails. You don't have to copy an email address. It just hooks up straight to the server. You don't have to remember anything. And then replies it tracks too. For example, Aaron here, who's one of our customers, had actually followed up with me, and I don't have to worry. I can just go to her contact record and see all that stuff. So the thing is, making it sure that you're following up via email, making sure you make it easy to collect those emails and find email addresses, automating your next step, like, hey, what am I going to say to this person? It takes some time to craft a follow-up email. If you can automate as much of that process, that's where we automate the next step on our end, which is something this is not a Digsy AI thing. We're just sharing you with some of the things that we've learned from other people that we've adopted internally. That way we can follow up, pick up the conversation right where we left off with anybody that we're trying to do business with. So you want to succeed where a CRM fails. So what I like to do is open it up for questions and discussions, but first I'm going to do a summary. And the first thing is email is your best friend when it comes to prospecting. The phone is great as well, so keep that in mind. But the main thing is when you open up on an email is drive value. Do you have a potential rock star that can take my business from 0 to 60 very, very rapidly, whether it's in sales or any position in my organization? Can you help me lower my costs and increase profitability? How can I add value? Is there somebody in my network that I can tell this tenant or this buyer or this developer that can help make their lives easier, so I have a relationship so that they come to me when they need things? And those are kind of the things that we're seeing in patterns. We are going to be having these webinars very consistently. So we'll have the next one either next week, or I got to check, next week or the following week, where we'll be sharing different things that aren't email related or different tools that you guys can use in different approaches. But yeah, I'd love to open it up for some questions now. And yeah, would love to see what we can do. I don't know how to necessarily enable audio, but maybe you can ask me on the chat screen. That'd be great. Okay, so Natalie was asking how does Slick AI work? So that's a very good question. I can actually show you on my browser here. So if I go and I Google, let's say, let's see Natalie Wagner, right? So Natalie Wagner, I'm gonna see here, and I'm gonna try to find you on LinkedIn. And I don't see Natalie Wagner, but I'll just look for Natalie Wagner on LinkedIn. So once I see, I can do a search for Natalie Wagner. And there are, oh, office specialist. Now we're not connected. So Slick AI is pretty cool. It's this little widget that you install when you visit their website. I already have it installed. And then right here, it says Silk Prospector. I can just click that and it'll start looking for the email address. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. Sometimes most of the time it has the email, but if it's, sometimes it doesn't, like in this instance, it doesn't, but it's trying to like enter some Facebook information in there. So I hope that helps you out. Oh, I see that some of you guys are trying to type in Slick like the way it's actually spelled. I don't know why they do this. It's S-L-I-K, not S-L-I-C-K. So if you remove that, is you know, not that, I don't know, they just left the C out. So the next question is thoughts on timeline for initial email and follow-up email, specifically time between. That's a very good question. Usually what we do here at Digsy, that's worked for us, and then what I know has worked for other brokers that, you know, that we've worked with, is about 2 to 3 days. And if you are, for those who use Digsy AI already, the system actually prompts you and says, hey, here's a good time to follow up. You want me to automate the next step for you. But if you don't have that, usually what you want to do is it takes anywhere between 5 to 8 touches to be able to, you know, break into an account or land, you know, try to get a meeting and things like that. So what you want to do is you send an email. If they don't answer the email the same day or tomorrow, you can pick up the phone, or you can send a follow-up email, or you can wait another day to do that. Then after that, you want to space them out like between like 2 or 3 days. Maybe you switch off between phone calls and email and things like that. But the email is like, hey, did you get my email? Did you get my email? You have to be finding information to really connect with them. I would say the first thing is drive value. So if for some reason you don't do lease audits and things like that, maybe you can find some information from them on LinkedIn that has good news about their company that you think you might be able to help. Like maybe they create a new product line. So things like that. So I hope that helps, Joe. Thank you for the question. Natalie Wagner competing with Natalie Wood. That's funny. How do you know? How do you install it? That's a good question, Natalie. I'm happy to connect with you offline and get that Slick AI figured out for you. Oh, this is a really good question, by the way, guys. So Nicholas, I'm gonna butcher this name, Laguirre, is requesting: would you would requesting a red receipt be too intrusive? The answer is depends how you execute it. So if you're using Outlook, the red receipt is optional on the other end. So typically those are not good. There are tools, for example, like I mentioned, I'm not sure if the tool Sanebox I did on that end, but there's tools out there that are third parties. I believe one of them is, who is it? Right Inbox or something like that. They actually embed a pixel in the email that you sent, and then when they open up that email, that pixel loads and it tells you whether the prospect has opened it. A really good thing to do is if somebody you're actively pursuing and this is one thing is if I'm trying to think of how to explain this. So let's say you're actively pursuing a set of accounts, and out of those accounts or out of those prospects, one is not giving you the time of day or replying to your emails or calling you back, but they've opened up your email 6 times. Heck yeah, call them up, try to get them on the phone somehow. Don't reference that you saw, hey, I saw that you opened up my email 6 times, what's up? But that's usually somebody who's either busy or there's some other reason that why they're not reaching back out to you. Maybe they're leaving for vacation, they want to start a conversation now. But if they're opening up that email, several times, there's got to be some interest there. So use that as a thing. But I wouldn't do red receipts from Outlook. I would look at one of these third-party tools, and that's something we're going to have on Digsy AI. I think it's slated for middle to late next month. You'll be able to know out of all the prospects you email through Digsy who you can do that, but you can use third-party tools in the meantime as well. All right, so any more questions at all? Would love to help out. Let me see if I missed any. Yes, so somebody had asked if this is being recorded. The answer is yes. I'm going to be sending that recording later today, so you guys are all aware. And yeah, that's it. Anybody else have questions? Would love to help out. All right, everyone. So it's been great having you. I will be definitely sending you the information. Frank, you're asking about the cold call script? Yes, you can actually, if you look on your GoToWebinar, there should be some handout section that you can do. I'll also make a note to reach out to you directly and send you that cold call script for sure. So I'll make a note right now, and I'll personally email that over to you. All right, thank you all for your time. Oh, actually, we have one more time. Wouldn't it, okay, so Nate Ortega is asking, wouldn't it still be more personal to follow up with a phone call instead of an email? Seems emails are too easy to ignore. The answer is yes, both are great. So you want to stay top of mind. So you can open up with an email. You can open up with a telephone call and follow up with an email. Some things are going to work differently. So usually what I do is, and I've learned this from, actually, I forgot which broker. He was one of the top guys at Cushman & Wakefield. I call first, follow up with an email immediately going, hey, I just lobbed you a voicemail. This is Andrew from Digsy AI. I just want to let you know and shoot you an email so it's easier for you to reply. If they don't respond to that, yeah, I will call and the next day, or I will drop an email and see if they open it. If they open it, that's great. But if they open it multiple times, then I kind of gauge how much more time I invest in this prospect. But sometimes if the account's very, very big, I'll find some information on LinkedIn to follow up with them. So whether it's information, some news about their company, or I'll check out like if they're hiring people and I know somebody in my network, I'll reach out to them directly going, hey, I looked that you were hiring an operations person. My friend just got done selling his company to McAfee. He's a great guy. Here's his LinkedIn profile. Let me know if you want me to keep in touch with them. And I'm looking to develop a relationship with you. Now, if their lease is expiring, that's going to shape your conversation a little bit differently as well. So um, I will be sending you all of that information later today on the cold call scripts and that. So let me see what. And for those of you who arrived late, by the way, guys, don't worry about it. We're gonna have a recording, so you won't have missed much. Simply because you guys will get to hear me all over again, and you can loop it if you guys want, which I can't imagine you would. Let me see. I would like to receive a copy. Yeah, we'll send out the copies of the cold call script. By the way, if you're on GoToWebinar, there is a handout section. You can download them straight from there, but we'll make sure to send those over to you. How do you automatically send a follow-up after you send the initial email? Do you deselect the ones you have already replied or go through the process? No. Melissa, we actually, there are some tools out there that you can use that detect whether the person has replied to you or not. If you're a Digsy AI user, the system does that for you, and we can work with you on setting up whatever that second template would be so it's automatic, and you can even have it CC yourself. So that way you know that the email follow-up went there. So there are ways to automate it. I'm happy to spend more time with you on that. Another question from Nicholas was, would adding an attachment to an email cause it to be flagged as spam? No, the answer is no. There's nothing on the email that will make it cause as spam unless you are a well-known spammer. You should be okay. Let me see if I miss anything. Linda, I love your comment about practicing. You're absolutely right. So looks like we don't have any more questions. So with that, thank you all for your time. Hope you guys learned something. Shared with you some tools that you can get in there. If there's anything I can help, feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm going to type in right here, Andrew@Digsy.ai. Feel free to email me. So it's just Andrew@Digsy.ai. I welcome all of you. I want to make sure that you guys are very successful on this. I know I'm extremely excited about some of the things that we learned from brokers that may help you. If you need tools to achieve some things, great. If you want to find out more about our platform, fantastic. But I'm here to help, and we're going to have these consecutively. So I'll let you know of the next webinar. We have a few very interesting topics that I think will be relevant to all of you. So thank you all for attending, and look forward to connecting soon. Thanks so much.